Chapter 1. Fuck you. Nanny, wake up quickly. Your mother won't be alive if you go. A sharp and shrill cry came from far away from the sky and reached my ears. Mother, let go of the child. Don't do this. Our daughter has gone to the Bodhisattva. The man sadly comforted the woman holding the child. Master, my daughter's heart is still warm. Why are you so cruel? The woman complained with red eyes and choked with sobs. Who dares to lift my daughter? I will fight with her. A girl's film has run out of energy. It would be unlucky to leave it in the house. Third brother, why don't you carry it away? The old woman standing in the middle of the room looked at the man with triangular eyes and shouted. Where is this? Tianmin floated lightly in the air, in confusion, with a confused look on his face, unable to distinguish the situation in front of him. Before she could think of something to do, someone suddenly pushed her back, and she crashed into the girl who was lying upright on the wooden board. Tianmin's cries gave Tianmin a splitting headache. She frowned and raised her eyelids. Someone was squeezing her belly hard, the force making her throat itchy, and she spit out a mouthful of turbid water. Nanny. Tianmin opened his eyes and saw black sorghum beams hanging above his head, with an old bucket hanging on it, swinging. Yenner, I'm my mother. Do you recognize me? Tianmin tilted her head, and a face full of tears magnified in front of her. It was the woman she saw crying miserably at the beginning. Mom, her voice was hoarse and her throat hurt. Child, oh my son, you're alive. You're alive. The woman who called herself mother suddenly hugged Tianmin in her arms and cried again. Tianmin was hugged tightly by her, and her mind was spinning. What was going on? She was obviously on vacation, facing the sea, lying on the deck chair, watching dog blood, and drinking coffee leisurely. Which one is this, and which one now? Ugh, second sister, I thought you didn't want me anymore. A little kid with a runny nose and wiping his tears pitifully came over and held her hand. Tianmin was instantly shocked when they held hands. Was this skinny hand without much flesh hers? Not knowing where the strength came from, she opened the woman's arms and sat up, looking at her hands and feet in a daze. This is clearly a child's body. Tianmin was stunned, staring blankly at his hands and feet. Child, what's wrong with you? Don't scare mother. When the woman saw her daughter's abnormality, she was so frightened that she forgot to wipe her tears and shouted, Yen Yen, mother is here? Mom, my sister may be shocked. A duck's voice sounded in Tianmin's ears. My poor son, the woman cried loudly after hearing this and howled. Master, go to the village, head quickly, and ask Mrs. Zhang to come and calm down. Hey, I'll go right away. Tianmin then realized what he was doing and scanned around the house. The dark room was a bit old, with few decent furniture. The windows on the adobe wall were small, and one could see the clear blue sky. Beside her, an 11 or 12-year-old boy held hands with a 5 or 6-year-old boy and looked at her sadly. The wailing woman was wearing a shabby floral dress. She closed her eyes slightly, a little, and then a little, and the memories in her mind flashed rapidly, like a movie in fast forward, gradually and clearly overlapping. Tianmin opened his eyes and looked at the woman who had stopped crying but was looking at her with a pale face. This was her mother in this body, Tian Luosher, and the older and younger boys were her twin brother and little brother. Tianmin trembled, his lips trembled, and he stared at the sky outside the window. He sat up in excitement and shouted, Go to hell. Did she encounter a bloody time travel? She's so unlucky to be dressed as a poor, miserable girl from a poor family. The author said, New articles are now available, and old articles are also being compiled and completed. Please give me your support. If you like it, please click it to collect it and recommend it. The female pig is begging for chicken blood. Dear friends, don't be stingy if you recommend me. If you hide it, you might as well submit it to me. Welcome to Catch Insects. I'll be happier if you sprinkle some flowers with me. Dear. Chapter 2. Who dares to force me to marry? Tianmin was lying on the earthen bed, staring at the bamboo basket hanging from the high beams on the roof, without blinking, trying to calm down. According to the remaining memory of this body, she knew that her name was Tianmin, which was just one more character than her own name. She had a pair of honest parents, 2 brothers, and a younger brother and sister of unknown gender in her belly. No, she knows. Tianmin smiled bitterly. She knew whether the child in Luo Shi's belly was a boy or a girl. She was a girl who was born like a cat after a narrow escape, and was so weak that she could not be raised. You say time travel. What she is wearing is not a princess. She is a rich girl anyway, but she is a poor girl from a poor family, and she has a bad fate. People traveled through time to some dynasty, and then lived a prosperous and arrogant life, which was so smooth that it made readers angry and resentful. But as for her, she happened to be transported into a book. That's right, God made her shamefully dress up as the protagonist of a book. The protagonist not only had a bad fate in marrying a fool because of her uncle's design, but even her death was not a good one. Thinking of this, Tianmin sat up from the calm, looked at the sky through the small window on the earthen wall, and shouted, "God, are you too cruel?" After scolding for a while and beating the earthen bed beneath him a few times, Tianmin fell down angrily, pulled the quilt over his head, and kicked a few times in the air to vent his anger. Thinking of her as the boss of a farming and animal husbandry group in the 21st century, her good days have just begun, and now she is reduced to a poor girl with no food to eat but a misfortune. Who has she provoked? Tianmin, no, her name is Tianmin now, pulled back the quilt covering her head, beat her head a few times, took a deep breath, and her eyes became firm. No, she will not be the miserable fool and piggy in the book, nor will she marry a fool and then give birth to a fool and be beaten to death by the fool. She wants to change her destiny. Second sister, father, mother, uncle, they are making trouble again. The little kid ran in with a snot in his nose. This is her younger brother in this life, Tianmin Liang, brother Liang. Tianmin jumped up and asked anxiously, "What did you say?" "My parents said they wouldn't let you get married. They said the marriage would be bad. It would be unlucky for you to fall into the river before you get married. But my eldest aunt said it was such a disaster." Brother Liang sniffed, scratched his head, and said, "Yes, if you survive a disaster, you will be blessed later. They said you will be extremely lucky to marry in the future, and you will become an official's wife." Bah! Tianmin almost didn't scold her. She jumped off the earthen bed without even putting on her shoes. She grabbed her brother's hand and said, "Let's take my second sister to have a look." Why? The 2 siblings held hands and ran out of the house quickly. This is a typical rural house. There is a huge yard outside the house. In the yard, there are 2 or 3 chickens pecking at something. The 2 siblings ran past quickly, making the 2 or 3 chickens fly around in shock. After leaving the yard, there was another row of large houses. Tianmin saw her honest father coming out of the house and sitting on the threshold of the main house, holding his head and wilted. This is surrender. Tianmin was so angry that she let go of her brother's hand and ran over quickly. As she approached the door, she heard a high-pitched voice saying, "Her third aunt, this young girl will enjoy happiness when she gets married. Why are you so stubborn? It's a good marriage, and you just want to back out." Tianmin didn't know whether the female voice was the bitter eldest aunt or the greedy second aunt. She didn't care, turned a corner, rushed to the kitchen, found a kitchen knife, and ran back to the main room with murderous intent. "Whoever dares to force me to marry, I will chop him to death and then commit suicide." She raised the kitchen knife high and shouted angrily at the people in the room with red eyes. The female pig is begging for chicken blood. Dear friends, don't be stingy if you recommend me. If you hide it, you might as well submit it to me. Welcome to catch insects. I'll be happier if you sprinkle some flowers with me. Dear. Chapter 3. Lying to Children. On the tukong in the main hall of the house, a pair of gray-haired old men were sitting on it. The man was smoking a dry cigarette, while the woman was holding a piece of cloth in her hand and sewing something. At the end of the kong, a middle-aged man about 40 years old stood there, wearing a navy blue satin robe and a black scarf on his head. His face was rosy and fair, and he looked a bit elegant. Compared to her charcoal-like father, he looked many times better. Next to the man, a woman in her 30s was sitting there, wearing a dark red dress with wide sleeves embroidered with red plum blossoms on both sides, and an embossed coarse cloth skirt with a pair of small and exquisite embroidered shoes exposed under the skirt. Tian Minion looked over and gasped. It turned out to be little feet. Looking at her appearance, she is round and fair, with her hair pulled into a bun with 2 fancy silver hairpins. She does not look like an ordinary farmer, but rather like a wife. According to the memory in my mind, this should be Tian Minion's Uncle Tian Huide and Aunt Chin, those scumbags and bastards who sold their niece for glory. While Tian Minion was looking at the 2 people, the people in the room were also looking at her. No, it should be said that they were shocked by her. "Girl Yen, what are you doing?" Another woman in the room raised her voice and snorted. Her 3rd aunt. Don't tell me what she is like. If you marry her in the future, then... 2nd aunt. Where do you want to marry? Tian Minion took 2 steps closer with a kitchen knife and stared at the chubby woman, as if you say another word, I will let you use the white knife to go in and the red knife to go out. Tian Minion's eyes widened with sharp eyes, which frightened the woman so much that she took a step back and moved the corners of her mouth, not daring to say anything anymore. Yes, this is another top member of the Tian family, Mrs. Li, the aunt of the 2nd Fong family, who is greedy, and lazy. You, don't come here. Mrs. Li looked at the kitchen knife that the shopkeeper had just sharpened yesterday, took a step back in fear, and shouted to the old man on the kong, Dad, look at this damn girl. 3rd brother and sister. Although our family is a farmer's family, no matter how vulgar the daughter's family is, they don't have to shout at their elders with a knife. If this word spreads, what will our daughter say about her in the future? Tian Huide lectured Luo Shi displeased. Hearing this, Tian Minion's eyes suddenly shot over like needle points. That sounds nice. Then why don't you send your 2 precious girls who look like flowers to fools to play with? Girl Yen, put down the knife. Your daughter's family is in bad shape. Mr. Tian put his pipe on his lap and looked at Tian Minion with a sullen face. Yen, my Yen. Luo Shi came to his senses from being stunned, hugged her thin daughter, and cried, Grandpa. Tian Minion broke away from Luo Shi's arms, took 2 steps forward, looked at Mr. Tian and said, I won't marry. Girl Yen, when you go out to play, you are not ashamed to marry or not. Sir, if you don't have it, you are here. Here, take 2 copper coins to the village to buy sugar candies. Mrs. Chin took out 2 coins from her sleeve pocket with a smile and walked to Tian Minion and handed them over. With a bang, Tian Minion knocked the 2 copper plates to the ground without thinking. With 2 jingles, they fell on the slate tiles in the main room. When Mrs. Li saw one of the copper plates falling at her feet, her eyes lit up as if she had seen gold. She quickly bent down to pick it up and stuffed it into her arms. Auntie, you are lying to a child. Tian Minion raised her head, stared at Chen with a cold smile, and said, You just want to coax me out and sell me to a fool for 2 coins? The female pig is begging for chicken blood. Dear friends, don't be stingy if you recommend me. If you hide it, you might as well submit it to me. Welcome to catch insects. I'll be happier if you sprinkle some flowers with me. Dear. Chapter 4 Forced to Death. Fool. As soon as Tian Minion said these words, the room suddenly became quiet. Mr. Tian, who was sitting on the kong smoking a cigarette, forgot to smoke. Old Mrs. Tian, who was mending a piece of white clothes that had been washed, also raised a triangular eye and squinted at Tian Minion. Luo Shi even forgot to cry. When Mrs. Chen suddenly heard what her niece said, her expression suddenly changed. She quickly looked at her husband, exchanged glances, and quickly calmed down. What did Yenyatta say? My eldest Anne has asked you about it. That family is a serious official and gentry family. I am a colleague of the Qingzhou government office. I am just an old man, but I have a lot of treasures. Once you marry, you will be a serious person. Young lady from Bayang, isn't it better to drink spicy food than you to drink plain porridge? Mrs. Chen walked over with a smile, held Tian Minyan's shoulders and said, I just said that if you survive a disaster, you'll have good luck in the future. Isn't that the truth? Your aunt is right. Tian Huai nodded and ignored Tian Minyan, a yellow-haired girl. He turned to the old man on the Kong and said, Dad, if you accept the marriage, I will go to the county tomorrow to finalize the marriage. Do you like it? Fuck you. Tian Minyan shook off Chen's hand, raised the kitchen knife in the other hand, and stared wide-eyed. Uncle, you are so satisfied with this marriage. Why don't you ask the eldest sister and the fifth sister to get married? Seeing Tian Huai's face darken, she sneered again and said, It's such a good marriage that the uncle doesn't want to think about his own daughter, but sticks to his niece first. It really touches Yen Yen. Before Tian Huai could say anything, she rushed to her mother Luo Shi and said, Mom, I won't marry. If anyone dares to ask me to marry, I will die here. With that said, she put the knife on her neck. Luo Shi was still stunned when she saw it. This daughter finally managed to save her life. But now, she screamed and shouted sternly, My dear girl, put down the knife quickly. You are killing my mother. Her father, come here quickly. Hearing his wife's cry, Tian Huairen, who was squatting at the door, immediately ran in. Seeing the scene, his voice even trembled. Nanny, put down the knife quickly. Father, mother, I say it again, I will not marry. Tian Minyan took a step back and moved the knife further to her neck. Dad, old man, please tell Yan Yan to put down the knife. I beg you. I kowtow to you. Tian Luosher knelt down on the Kong with a bang and kowtowed. Ani, what's going on? Third sister-in-law, get up quickly. Third brother, why don't you pull your wife up? Mr. Tian suddenly became anxious and shouted to his son. Why? Old man, if you don't agree, I won't be able to afford it. Luo Shi pushed Tian Huairen away, and his forehead suddenly became red and swollen. Tian Minyan couldn't bear to see it, but at this time, she could not relent. God knew that the tragic life of Tian Minyan described by the author was unfolded because of Mr. Tian's decision. Therefore, she must force Mr. Tian to give up this idea. Hey, I won't marry. I won't marry. Sister-in-law of the third family, please get up quickly. Yen Yatu is still young, so I'll stay for a few years. Mr. Tian finally spoke up. Hearing the old man speak, Tian Huai stepped forward and shouted, Dad, this. Just do what I say. Mr. Tian glared, and Tian Huai could only curl his lips sadly. With a crackling sound, Tian Minyan finally breathed a sigh of relief, and the knife in his hand also loosened, fell to the ground, and sat down on the floor. The female pig is begging for chicken blood. Dear friends, don't be stingy if you recommend me. If you hide it, you might as well submit it to me. Welcome to catch insects. I'll be happier if you sprinkle some flowers with me. Dear. Chapter 5. Who Can't Pretend. After receiving the guarantee from the highest authority of the family, Tian Minyan was immediately deflated like a ball with a hole in it and collapsed on the ground. At her feet, the worn-out kitchen knife lay there brightly, emitting an eerie, cold light. Nanny, stop crying. My mother is here. Luo Shi hugged her daughter and saw the tears on her face. She was so heartbroken that she picked up the hem of her clothes and wiped them for her. In her previous life, Tian Minyan was an orphan. She was raised by the director of the orphanage and had never enjoyed maternal love. Now, she suddenly had a pair of parents who were so close to each other, but she was not used to such intimacy. She felt something strange on her face and realized that she was crying. Good girl. Tian Huairen called out nonchalantly, his face full of anxiety, but he didn't know how to comfort her. You damn girl. She's so brave. She dares to take a knife. Let her go. I'll see if she dares to wipe her neck." Just as the three of them looked happy to have survived the disaster, an inappropriate voice suddenly sounded. Tian Minion looked over with cold eyes and felt a chill in her heart. The voice belonged to Mrs. Tian. It turned out that she had no intention of speaking when the old man agreed to break off the kiss. She knew that the man in charge was a man, so she had no intention of refuting. But after receiving the suggestive look from her eldest son, her mind immediately changed. She didn't forget what her eldest son said back then. The betrothal gift given by her family was too much. It was 200 taels of silver alone, not to mention other pieces of cloth. To say that 200 taels is not much money for a wealthy family, but for a banker family, especially a middle and lower class family like the Tian family, it is an astronomical sum of money. Everyone said that Yawa was a sweetheart, and every family favored Yawa. However, Mrs. Tian was famous in Yangmei village for being partial, but she did not favor Yawa, but her eldest son and her 2 daughters. Mrs. Tian gave birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters in total. Both daughters were married. The eldest daughter married a shopkeeper and lived a life as a wife. She also had a girl to serve her. The second daughter also married a man who ran a cloth shop. But last time, the daughter cried to her and told her that she lost a lot of money because a batch of goods was given to the Kong. Now her life is very tight, so she hinted openly or secretly to get some private help. If Yen Yadu gets married, with those 200 taels, not only will her family be able to live well, but she can also help out with some daughters. The most important thing is that her son's official career will depend on that governor. No. When she received the boss's look, her face changed, and her words were harsh and ruthless. In her opinion, Tian Minion, a money loser, was born to lose money. After raising her for such a long time, she should contribute something to the family. Tian Minion knew the plot of the book Sorrowful Poor Girl, written by the author of The Stepmother. This old lady was the best among the best. There was no best, only the best. In her previous life, when she was reading a book, she felt ashamed and scolded the old lady and her family at the same time. What kind of author was this? What she wrote was a complete tragedy. And now, thanks to God's teasing, she has become the tragic heroine in the book. She is expected to follow the plot set by the stepmother. Pooh. That's fine if she doesn't know, but she won't reverse this damn fate if she knows. She can die again. Thinking of this, Tian Minion secretly pinched her tender thigh hard and snorted weakly. Mom, Dad, I'm dizzy. Am I going to die? Being cruel to oneself is called cruelty. Pretending, who can't do that? My poor little girl, Mother is going to make some medicine right now. Her father, please take her back and lie down. Upon hearing this, Luo Shi immediately waved to Tian Huiran. Why? Tian Huiran responded, hurriedly bent down, picked up Tian Minion, and ran out of the main room. The female pig is begging for chicken blood. Dear friends, don't be stingy if you recommend me. If you hide it, you might as well submit it to me. Welcome to Catch Insects. I'll be happier if you sprinkle some flowers with me. Dear. Chapter 6, Yen. Yen wants to be a big landowner. It has to be said that farm men are strong. Tian Huiran, who has been working in the mountains for many years, is extremely strong. He picked up Tian Minion and ran without shaking. His legs and feet were also fast, and he quickly returned to his house. Putting his daughter on the Kong, Tian Huiran pulled the neatly folded quilt and covered her tightly and asked with concern, Nanny, are you feeling better? Tian Minion was so depressed that she forced out a smile and answered, Dad, I'm fine. Hey, it's okay if it's okay. It's okay if it's okay. Tian Minion, the biological father of a misfortune, was an honest man. He would wait for the owner to find the money after picking it up on the ground. He didn't talk much and was not very sociable. Therefore, his daughter's marriage was plotted by his elder brother. He didn't show any shame and just watched his daughter marry a fool. Tian Minion looked at this dark but kind face and sighed in her heart. When will she be able to make a difference with such a father? Hearing the sound of footsteps, She turned around to look again, but it was Luo Shi who was walking towards him holding a collapsed bowl in both hands. An unpleasant bitter smell was getting closer and closer with her footsteps. Well, Tian Minion sighed again, and once again complained about God's injustice. Why didn't she let her wear it on a wealthy lady? Nanny, drink the medicine quickly. You'll be fine tomorrow. When Luo Shi was approaching the Kong, he didn't know whether it was because he knelt down and kowtowed too hard just now, or because of something else. He stumbled and almost fell, and a lot of the medicine was spilled. Mom, please be careful. It won't be good if you hurt your sister in your belly. Tian Minion's face turned pale. She opened the quilt and sat up, quickly supporting her and shouting. As soon as she said this, Tian Huairan and his wife were immediately stunned and looked at each other. They hadn't said anything about this yet. How did the child know? Seeing their expressions, Tian Minion's heart skipped a beat. Oh no! In the book, the fact that Zi Luo was pregnant again hadn't been revealed yet. Sure enough, Luo Shi blushed at first and then asked, Daughter, how did you know? Tian Minion giggled, rolled her eyes, coughed, and said, I heard what you and Dad said when you went to bed at night. She helped Luo Shi sit on the Kong and said, Mom, sit down quickly. Good boy. Luo Shi clapped her hand happily, then touched her belly with a sad face and said, I don't know if I can bear this child. It's done. Why can't it be done? Tian Huairan comforted him. Don't think so much. I have to give it to your mother even if I don't eat it. Just don't worry. Luo Shi glanced at him angrily, feeling a lot worried in his heart. But after looking at the empty room with bare walls, he still sighed. Others didn't know it, but Tian Minion knew that the piece of meat in Luo Shi's belly was indeed born, but he was as thin as a kitten when he was born. He was severely malnourished. He died when he was less than 2 years old because of a high fever that would not go away. Alas, it is such a bad fate, and it cannot be more miserable. Tian Minion looked at Luo Shi's gentle profile and really didn't know how sad this gentle and loving mother would be at that time. No, since she knew this pain, she would never let it happen. Since she had the advantage of foreknowledge, she could reverse it. Mom, don't worry, my sister's good. Tian Minion put her arms around her neck and said, Uncle said, if you survive a catastrophe, you will have good luck in the future. We will definitely have a good life in the future. Silly girl, your uncle. Looking at her sensible daughter and thinking of what her uncle had done, Luo Shi felt sad and wanted to scold her. But when she saw her husband's honest face, she sighed and said, Lie down quickly. I need to take good care of myself. Yes. Tian Minion lay down again obediently, looking at her concerned and loving parents, and secretly vowed in her heart that she must reverse this poor and miserable fate and become a big landowner with land, and a house that everyone envied. The female pig is begging for chicken blood. Dear friends, don't be stingy if you recommend me. If you hide it, you might as well submit it to me. Welcome to catch insects. I'll be happier if you sprinkle some flowers with me. Dear. Chapter 7, The Black-Hearted Uncle's Family. At night, Tian Minion was sleeping drowsily on the Kong, but she heard a burst of crying coming intermittently, and she couldn't help but move. UNC. Why are her uncle and auntie's mothers so cruel, knowing that that person is a fool, yet still trying to persuade our child to marry him? What kind of intentions do they have? They are really cruel. This cry was made by Luo Shi with lowered voice and sobs. Tian Minion could imagine how sad she was. How could a mother not feel sad knowing that her daughter almost married a fool, and this was planned by her own uncle? Tian Minion heard Tian Huairan sigh again and said, Don't cry. Didn't Dad agree not to let our daughter get married?